Good morning, students. In this session, I will be dealing with synopsis of digestion and absorption and one more chapter, breathing and exchange of gases. Let us start with the digestion and absorption. What is digestion? The process of conversion of complex food into the simple absorbable forms is called digestion, and it is carried out by our complex digestive system by two processes, mechanical and biochemical process. Your food material contain the macromolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and nucleic acids. These macromolecules should be converted into monomers, the simple absorbable forms. The simple absorbable forms of carbohydrates are monosaccharides, and simple absorbable forms of proteins are amino acids, and glycerol fatty acid for the fats, and nitrogen bases, sugar and phosphates, pentose sugar and phosphates are the simple absorbable forms of the nucleic acids. So these respective macromolecules should be converted into their monomers. Let us start with the digestive system of human being. The digestive system of human being consists alimentary canal and associated digestive glands. The alimentary canal is a highly coiled, long, muscular, tube-like structure that start with the mouth and ends with the anus. In between mouth and anus, there are different parts are present: pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. Mouth leads to the oral cavity or buccal cavity. The oral cavity consists three parts: palate, tongue, and the teeth. A palate is the part that separates the nasal cavity from a oral cavity, which consists two parts: anteriorly hard palate and posteriorly soft palate. The part of soft palate is hanging down in the conical shaped structure is called as uvula. Next, tongue is the muscular, movable, freely movable part attached to the floor of the buccal cavity with the help of a fold of connective tissue is called as frenulum. The upper surface of tongue has a small projection called a papillae. Some of these papillae consist taste buds, which are gustatory receptors. Next, teeth. The teeth are thecodont, diphyodont, heterodont type of teeth. Thecodont, when teeth are embedded in the sockets of the jaw bone, called as thecodont. Diphyodont dentition, when teeth are formed twice during the lifetime of an individual, so that type of dentition is called as diphyodont teeth. Here first milk teeth are formed, later on the milk teeth are replaced by the adult teeth. Next, there are four different type of teeth are present in the human beings. They are incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. The dental formula can be defined as the arrangement of teeth on each half of the upper jaw and each half of the lower jaw in the sequence incisors, canine, premolars, and molars is called dental formula. The dental formula of milk teeth is 2122 by 2122, and dental formula of adult teeth is 2123 by 2123. Next, mouth opens, oral cavity is opens into the pharynx, which act as a common passage for the food and air. The pharynx, posteriorly, the pharynx opens into the esophagus and windpipe, trachea. The opening of pharynx into the trachea or larynx is called as glottis, that is guarded by a cartilaginous flap-like structure is called as epiglottis, which prevent the entry of food particles into the windpipe. Next, esophagus is a muscular tube which helps in the passage of food material from the pharynx to the stomach. Then esophagus leads to the stomach. The opening of esophagus into the stomach is guarded by gastroesophageal sphincter. Next, the stomach is the store house of the food material, and it also involves in the partial digestion of the food material. It is divided into four parts: cardiac portion, fundic portion, body, and pyloric portion. The pyloric portion of the stomach is opens into the anterior part of small intestine. The opening of stomach into the small intestine is guarded by the pyloric sphincter. Next, the small intestine is the longest part of alimentary canal, divided into duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Duodenum is U-shaped structure or C-shaped structure. It has opening of hepatopancreatic duct. Next, large intestine. The ileum of small intestine is opens into the large intestine, which is divided into three parts: cecum, colon, rectum. Cecum is a blind sac which hosts the microbes, symbiotic microbes. And there is a small finger-like projection, vermiform projection, arises from the cecum, is called vermiform appendix, which is vestigial in human beings. Next, cecum is opens into the colon. Colon is divided into four parts: ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon. Next, colon is opens into the rectum. The rectum is opens out through anus. Next, histology of alimentary canal. The wall of alimentary canal from esophagus into the rectum consists of four layers: serosa, muscularis, submucosa, mucosa. Serosa is the outermost layer made up of squamous epithelium and areolar connective tissue. Muscularis, it is located inner to the serosa, is composed with the smooth muscles. There are two types of smooth muscles: outer longitudinal and inner circular smooth muscles. Submucosa consists of loose connective tissue and are richly supplied with the blood and lymphatic vessels. Next, mucosa is the innermost layer lining the lumen of alimentary canal. It has irregular folding in the stomach called rugae, gastric rugae, and the small finger-like projections in the intestine is called as villi. Next, digestive glands, associated digestive glands, salivary glands, gastric glands, intestinal glands, liver, pancreas are associated digestive glands. First, there are three pairs of salivary glands located in the oral cavity: parotid glands, sublingual glands, submandibular glands. The salivary glands secrete slightly acidic, the pH is 6.8, slightly acidic fluid. It's called saliva, which contains salivary amylase or taline, the lysozyme enzyme, and electrolytes. In case of other mammals, there are four pairs of salivary glands are present. The fourth pair of salivary gland is infraorbital gland, which is absent in human beings. Next, liver is the largest gland in the human body, situated upper right side of the abdominal cavity, just below the diaphragm. Liver is made up of two lobes, right and left lobe. Each lobe is composed with hexagonal structures called as hepatic lobules, which are functional structural units of the liver. Each hepatic lobule is protected by a connective tissue sheath is called as Glisson's capsule. Each hepatic lobule is composed with numerous hepatocytes or liver cells which secrete bile. The bile is stored in the gallbladder. Bile duct, which is arises from the liver, is united with the pancreatic duct to form the hepatopancreatic duct that is opens into the duodenum. The opening of hepatopancreatic duct is guarded by the sphincter of Oddi. Next, the pancreas is the mixed gland, soft lobulated grayish pink gland which is weighs about 60 grams, is located below the stomach between the two limbs of duodenum. Pancreas consists two parts, exocrine part and endocrine part. Exocrine part, the major portion of pancreas is the exocrine portion, which consists of secretory cells called as acini, which secrete digestive juice, that is pancreatic juice consists different type of digestive enzymes like trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, amylase, lipase, nucleases. Next, endocrine portion constitute only 1 to 2% and secrete hormones like insulin and glucagon. Next, let us discuss about digestion of food material. Carbohydrate, fats, and proteins and nucleic acids occurs in the food in the form of large and complex insoluble macromolecules, and these macromolecules will be converted into small monomers by the action of enzymes. In the buccal cavity, the mechanical digestion start in the buccal cavity by the mastication of the food material with help of the teeth. While mastication of food material, the food is thoroughly mixed with the saliva. The mucus present in the saliva helps in the adhesion of masticated food particle that result in the formation of bolus. The bolus is passed into the pharynx by the process of deglutition, that is swallowing. The chemical process of digestion also starts in the oral cavity by the action of carbohydrate splitting enzyme, that is salivary amylase. And the saliva also consists lysozyme that is act as an antibacterial agent. About 30% of starch is digested in the oral cavity by the action of salivary enzyme into the disaccharides like maltose. Next. From oral cavity, food material enters into the pharynx by the process of swallowing or deglutition. From pharynx, it enters into the esophagus, then into the stomach. When food material enters into the stomach, the gastric juice is thoroughly mixed with food material. The mucosa of stomach have the gastric glands. These gastric glands are composed with the three types of cells. Mucous neck cells which secrete the mucus, peptic cells are chief cells which secrete the proenzymes like pepsinogen and prorenin, and parietal cells are oxantic cells which secrete HCl. Here, proenzymes pepsinogen and prorenin are converted into active enzyme pepsin and renin by the action of HCl. Next, axanthic cells also secrete causal intrinsic factor that helps in the absorption of vitamin B12. Next, the partially digested food in the stomach is called as chyme. Mucus and bicarbonate present in the gastric juice play important role in the lubrication and protecting the inner wall of the stomach from the action of HCl. And prorenin is converted into renin by the action of HCl. That renin is act on the milk protein casein converted into para-casein, then calcium para-caseinate. Next, the bile, pancreatic juice, and intestinal juice. These three are released into the small intestine. Bile does not contain any digestive enzymes, but it contains bile pigments and bile salts. Bile pigments, bilirubin and biliverdin, these are excretory products. Bile salts, sodium, potassium, taurocholates are the bile salts. which helps in the emulsification of the fats. Pancreatic juice contains trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidase, procarboxypeptidase, amylase, lipase, and nucleases. And intestinal juice or succus entericus contains disaccharidases, peptidases, dipeptidases, nucleosidases, nucleotidases, enterokinase, and lipase. Next, absorption of digested food. Absorption is the process by which nutrients pass from the alimentary canal into the blood and live through its mucous membrane. Amino acids, monosaccharides, fatty acids, glycerol, salts, vitamins, and water to be absorbed. About 90% of absorption occurs in the small intestine and the rest of 10% in the stomach, mouth, and large intestine. The passage of different absorbent depends on concentration gradient for some substances like glucose and amino acids electrolytes. Glucose and galactose, these substances are absorbed by the active transport, and amino acids, fructose, are absorbed by the facilitated transport, and sodium electrolytes such as sodium absorbed by the active transport, and chloride ions absorbed by the passive transport. Absorption in the different part of alimentary canal. First, mouth. Certain drugs coming in the contact with the mucosa of the mouth and the lower side of the tongue are absorbed into the blood capillaries lining in the oral cavity. Stomach. Absorption of water, simple sugars, and alcohol takes place. And in the small intestine, glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids absorbed to the mucosa into the bloodstream and the lymph. So major absorption takes place, major part of absorption takes place in the small intestine. Next, large intestine, absorption of water and some minerals and the drugs takes place. Next, disorders of digestive system. The inflammation of intestinal tract due to bacterial infection, fungal infection, and parasitic infection, and also it may be by the worms like tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, and pinworms. Jaundice is a disease of liver. In the jaundice, the skin and eyes turn yellow due to the large quantity of bilirubin pigments in the extracellular fluid. Next, vomiting. It is the ejection of stomach content through the mouth. This reflex action, the reflex action is controlled by the vomiting center present in the medulla oblongata. Diarrhea, the frequent defecation of liquid feces in the is known as diarrhea due to abnormal movement of bowel, abnormal bowel movements. This diarrhea reduces absorption of the food. Next, constipation. Constipation, the feces are retained within the rectum as bowel movements occur irregularly. In diarrhea, more frequent bowel movements occurs, but here in the constipation, irregular bowel movements occurs. Indigestion, incomplete digestion, usually accompanied by the more and or more of the following symptoms: pain, stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, heartburn, acid regurgitation, and accumulation of gas and escape of gas from the stomach. These are the symptoms of indigestion. By this, we have completed synopsis of digestion and breathing, digestion and absorption. Let us start with breathing and exchange of gases. Breathing and respiration, these two are different processes. Actually, the breathing is a part of respiration. The process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere with CO2 produced by the body cells is called breathing. It includes two processes, inspiration and expiration. The differences between breathing and respiration. Breathing is simply an intake of fresh air and a removal of foul air. The respiration, it is the oxidation of food to form the carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Breathing is the physical process, and the respiration is the biochemical process. No energy is required for the breathing because it is the passive process. The respiration, energy is released in the form of ATP. In breathing, no energy is released. Breathing, it is an extracellular process. Respiration, it is intracellular process. Respiratory organs in different type of organisms. In sponges, coelentrates, and flatworms, the body surface act as a respiratory organ because exchange of gases takes place through body surface. And in earthworm, in annelids, respiration takes place through skin. And in insects, tracheal system, the respiratory organ. And in crustaceans, gills are the respiratory organs. And book gills, book lungs also present in some other arthropods like lemurus, scorpion. Next, in mollusca also gills are the respiratory organs. In echinodermates, respiratory trees are present. In Pisces and amphibians, some of the aquatic amphibians and larval stage of the amphibians exhibit bronchial respiration through gills. And in the remaining organisms like reptiles, aves and mammals, the lungs are the respiratory organs. Human respiratory system. Human respiratory system is consists of a pair of nostrils, pharynx, larynx, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli. A pair of external nostrils opens into the nasal chamber. The nasal chamber is opens into the pharynx through internal nostrils. This nasal chamber is helps in the prevention of the dust particles, humidification of the air, and regulation of temperature of the air. Next, the pharynx leads to the larynx. The larynx is also called as voice box or sound box because that helps in the sound production. Next, larynx is opens into the trachea. The trachea extended from the larynx, and it divides into the primary, secondary, tertiary, bronchi, then bronchioles, and up to initial bronchioles. These are supported by the incomplete cartilaginous rings, C-shaped cartilaginous rings, which are made up of hyaline cartilage, which prevent the collapsing of the trachea and bronchi. Each bronchiole terminate into irregular walled vascular bag-like structures called as alveoli, or the functional units of the lungs. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli collectively form the lungs. The lungs are covered with the double-layered pleura, having pleural fluid between them to reduce the friction on the lung surface. There are two parts, conducting part and exhaling part in the human respiratory system. From external nostrils to the terminal bronchioles, together forms conducting part, and alveoli and their ducts form exchange part of the respiratory system. A conducting part includes nostrils, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and bronchioles. The main function of conducting part, transport of atmospheric air to alveoli, removing the foreign particle from air, humidifying it, and bringing it to body temperature. The exchange part or alveoli, it is the site of actual diffusion of gases between the blood and atmosphere. Steps involved in the respiration. First step is the breathing, in which oxygen-rich atmospheric air is diffused in and CO2-rich alveolar air is diffused out. The diffusion of gases across the alveolar membrane. Transport of gases by the blood. Diffusion of oxygen and CO2 between blood and tissue. Next, utilization of oxygen by the cells to obtain the energy and the release of carbon dioxide. These are the steps involved in the respiration. First is the breathing, mechanism of the breathing. Breathing involves the inspiration involves in two processes, inspiration and expiration. During inspiration, atmospheric air is drawn in, and during expiration, alveolar air is released out. The movement of air in and out takes place due to difference in the pressure gradient. Inspiration occurs when the pressure inside the lung is less, that means intrapulmonary pressure is less, and when expiration takes place when intrapulmonary pressure is more than the outside atmospheric pressure. The diaphragm and external internal intercostal muscles between the ribs helps in the developing pressure gradient due to change in the volume. Next, respiratory volumes and capacities. Tidal volume. The volume of air that is inspired or expired during the normal inspiration or expiration is called as tidal volume. It is about 500 ml in healthy man. Out of 500 ml, only the 350 ml of air is reached to the exchange part. Remaining 150 ml of air is retains in the conducting zone of the respiratory system. So the amount of air which is retains in the conducting part of respiratory system is called as anatomical dead space volume, that is 150 ml. Next, inspiratory reserve volume. The additional volume of air a person can inspire by the forcible inspiration is called as inspiratory reserve volume. It is about 2500 to 500 ml to 3500 ml. Expiratory reserve volume. The additional volume of air a person can expire by the forcible expiration. It is about 1000 ml to 1100 ml. Residual volume. The volume of air remaining in the lungs even after forcible expiration is called as residual volume, is about 1100 ml to 1200 ml. By these volumes we can obtain the capacities, respiratory capacities. The inspiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, and the expiratory capacity is equal to tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Functional residual capacity is equal to expiratory reserve volume plus respiratory volume, residual volume. Vital capacity. The maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after forcible expiration is called as vital capacity. The vital capacity is equal to ERV plus TV plus IRV. Next, the total lung capacity. The total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of forced inspiration is called as total lung capacity is equal to vital capacity plus RV, or RV plus ERV plus TV plus IRV. Next, exchange of gases. Exchange of gases takes place at two sites, the site of alveoli and at the site of tissues. Uh, Between alveoli and bed, and between the blood and the tissues. Exchange of gases occur by the simple diffusion due to pressure gradient or concentration gradient. The solubility of gases and the thickness of membrane also influences exchange of gases. The pressure contributed by the individual gas in the mixture of gases is called partial pressure, represented by the for carbon dioxide PCO2, for oxygen PO2. Partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide at a different part involved in the different diffusion varies from one part to another part and move from higher partial pressure to the lower partial pressure. The solubility of carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times more than solubility of oxygen, and carbon dioxide diffuse much faster through the membrane. The diffusion membrane is made up of three layers: squamous epithelium of alveoli, endothelium of blood capillary. In between them, the basement substance is present. Next, transport of gases. Blood is the medium of transport of gas, transport of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Most of the oxygen, that is 97% of oxygen, is transported through RBC, and the remaining 3% is transported in the dissolved state through the plasma. 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide is transported by the RBC, and the 70% is transported as the bicarbonate ions, and the rest of 7% is transported in the dissolved state by the blood plasma. First, we'll discuss about the transport of oxygen. Hemoglobin in RBC combine with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Each hemoglobin can combine with the 4 oxygen molecule. Binding of oxygen is related with the partial pressure of oxygen, primarily related with partial pressure of oxygen, and also it is influenced by the partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion concentration and temperature. Percentage saturation of hemoglobin and partial pressure of oxygen form a sigmoid curve that we can call as oxygen dissociation curve. In the alveoli, at the site of alveoli, partial pressure of oxygen is more and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is less, and hydrogen ion concentration is less and the temperature is less. These conditions are favorable for the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin that result in the formation of oxyhemoglobin. And at the site of tissues, these conditions are opposite and the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin takes place. Next, transport of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is transported by the hemoglobin as a carbaminohemoglobin in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. In tissues, PCO2 is high. The partial pressure of PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide at the site of tissues is 45 mm Hg, and oxygen is 40 mm Hg. So partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high and partial pressure of oxygen is less, that favor the binding of carbon dioxide with hemoglobin. Opposite condition helps in the dissociation of carbaminohemoglobin at the site of alveoli, where oxygen partial pressure is more than the carbon dioxide. Next, enzyme carbonic anhydrase help in the formation of carbonic ions to transport the carbon dioxide. First, carbon dioxide is transported into the cytoplasm of the RBC, where in carbon dioxide is reacted with water molecule to form carbonic acid. This reaction is catalyzed by the carbonic anhydrase, which is rich in the RBC, and the little amount of carbonic anhydrase also present in the plasma. Next, regulation of respiration. Here, one more thing, chloride sept. When carbonic acid is formed, it is unstable form. So immediately it is dissociate into bicarbonate ions and H plus ions. When bicarbonate ion concentration increases in the RBC, these bicarbonate ions are diffuses into the plasma, and to maintain the ionic balance, the chloride ions from the plasma are diffused into the RBC. This phenomenon is called as chloride shift or Hamburger effect. Next, regulation of respiration. Human beings have ability to maintain and moderate the rate of respiration to fulfill the demand of body tissues by neural system. Respiratory rhythm center is located in the medulla. This respiratory rhythm center is primarily responsible for the regulation of respiration. And the pneumotaxic center present in the pons. It has the ability to moderate the function of respiratory rhythm center. The pneumotaxic center can alter the depth of inspiration by the signal from the respiratory rhythm center. The chemosensitive area which is present near to the respiratory rhythm center in the medulla oblongata has sensitivity to the carbon dioxide and H plus ions. When carbon dioxide and H plus ion concentration increases, so this center reacted, stimulated, and send the signal to the respiratory rhythm center to take the appropriate functions to reduce the increased carbon dioxide and H plus ions. Next, the chemoreceptor present in the carotid arteries aortic arteries also play the important role in the regulation of respiration. These chemoreceptor present in the aortic artery and carotid artery also sensitive to the carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion concentration. Bohr effect. The effect of carbon dioxide H plus ion concentration. Effect of carbon dioxide and H plus ion concentration on the affinity of hemoglobin with oxygen is called as Bohr effect. Next, disorders of respiratory system. First, asthma. It is due to allergic reactions to foreign particles that affect the respiratory tract. The symptoms include coughing, wheezing, and difficulty in breathing. This is due to excess mucus in the wall of respiratory tract. Here, inflammation of bronchi, trachea takes place due to increasing of the mucus. That narrows the when the mucus increases in the bronchi, the lumen of bronchi narrows. Then that is difficulty that causes difficulty in the breathing. Next, emphysema is the inflammation and damage of wall of alveoli. This occurs due to destroying of the septa between the alveoli because of smoking and inhalation of the other smokers. The inhalation becomes difficult and the lung remains inflated. Occupational respiratory disorders occurs due to occupation of individual. This is caused by the inhalation of different dust particles, small minute particles released from the industries. This includes silicosis, asbestosis, due to exposure of silica and asbestos in their respective industries. The symptoms include the proliferation of fibrous connective tissue of upper part of lungs causing inflammation. Next, pneumonia is acute inflammation of the alveoli of the lungs due to bacterial infection like Streptococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenza. The alveoli in this disease, the alveoli get filled with fluid, so that reduces rate of exchange of gases. And in this disease, the lips and the fingernails are turns into blue color. By this, we have completed breathing and exchange of gases. The next chapter, excretory products and their elimination, we will discuss in the next session.